Football is back, everyone. NFL upsets and comebacks in week 1 of the NFL regular season. Already. Keep listening to find out which teams made the top 10 in the week 2 rankings. Starting off, Super Bowl champion and defensive player Jalen Carter of the Philadelphia Eagles, who spit on Dak Prescott before game 1, was ejected and fined $57,222. He was suspended for one game, but since this happened before the game, the NFL is counting this as his one game suspension, according to an article from NFL.com. And a little bit about this. I know I saw this, I don't know exactly everything, but when you saw the replay too, you saw Dak spit towards the ground. Wasn't really spitting at Jalen Carter, but never know what happened there. And they exchanged some words, and then Jalen Carter actually spit on him. And of course, always the second guy gets caught. So it's pretty interesting. I would think if Jalen Carter didn't spit on Dak but spit in his direction, it would be just let them play on and they'd watch it throughout the game. And yeah. Let's move on to the Monday Night Football game for week 1 of the 2025 NFL season. It was the Minnesota Vikings at the Chicago Bears. It all started with the Bears, who showed up, and their defense, I'd say, was their best part in the beginning of the game. All around, they were a complete team. Then in the fourth quarter, the Vikings were doing good. Eric Wilson came in for Cashman. Like the commentator said, he was everywhere, and he even blocked a punt in the fourth quarter. Also, out of the two running backs for the Vikings, Jordan Mason and Aaron Jones, I feel like Mason had the better game, despite Jones getting the touchdown. Mason did have more carries and 15 for 68 yards, while Jones had 6 carries for 23 yards. But he was used in the passing game as well. Had 3 receptions for 44 yards off of 3 targets, so basically caught everything that was thrown his way, and one of them was a touchdown. The Vikings wound up winning this game in J.J. McCarthy's first regular season game after missing all of last season with an injury. Okay, who's ready to hear if their team made the top 10 in the rankings? We'll start with 10 and we'll work our way up to 1. There is a new number 1 in the rankings, and if your team to make the top 10, look on Facebook page Corbin Report, and Twitter and Instagram, or Twitter and Facebook, and I'll post the rankings there as well. So at number 10, we have the Philadelphia Eagles. Even though they won, they did move down to 1 in the rankings, and it wasn't anything bad. It's just the way I moved everyone, and the Cowboys give them a run for their money with no defense pretty much. At number 9, we have the Buccaneers, who should have lost to the Atlanta Falcons, and they moved down 1 to 9. Then at number 8, you have the Packers, who moved up 3. They were dominant, but looking at the ESPN depth chart, there are defensive players that are questionable, and I think that's for this coming week. Then at 7, because 7 through 10, these were the 4 teams I had, but in what order was pretty difficult for me to figure out. The Vikings are at 7, and they stayed the same. At number 6 are the LA Chargers, who defeated the Kansas City Chiefs, moving up 5. Then at number 5, staying the same, are the Pittsburgh Steelers. And yes, I know you could make argument to move them down, move them up. Maybe not up, but move them down a little bit. I kept them the same. They did beat the Jets, but also it was a high-scoring game. Towards the end, they started doing better. And their defense I feel like they have one of the top defenses. Their defense needs to do better for them if they need to move up or higher. Then at number 4, this team should have won. They ended up moving down 2. It's the Baltimore Ravens. There's really no explanation for that. We all know what happened. It is what it is. Then the Redskins at 3 moved them down 2 because, yes, they won, but they beat the Giants, who only scored 6 points. who scored the least amount of points this week. Then at number 2, moving up 2, are the Buffalo Bills. In what was an exciting game. The reason they're not 1, in my opinion, you could argue 1 and 2. I have them at 2 is because even though they won against the Ravens, their defense allowed 40 points. It was a 41-40 game. So a lot of high scoring there. And at number 1, moving up 2, are the LA Rams. Yes, they played the Texans. And yes, the Texans have a good offense and one of the top defenses as well, in my opinion. There's quite a few good defenses or top defenses this year. And the Rams were 3, so them moving up to 1, not really that crazy. It's realistic. And they did win in a close game. The only thing with the Texans is their offensive line. Other than that, Texans aren't, I wouldn't say they're a horrible team. But yeah, those were the top 10 in the rankings. If you want to know if your team's in the top 15 or where they're ranked at, head over to the Corbin Report on Facebook page and Twitter, and I'll post them there. In other news, the 49ers released kicker Jake Moody despite them beating the Seahawks. And as I was typing this, according to ESPN.com, the Niners are signing veteran kicker Eddie Pinheiro to a 1-year deal. Also, tight end George Kittle will be out at least 4 games with a hamstring injury. Super Bowl champs make a move, and they trade for Jaguars running back Tank Bigsby. Don't know why they would do that. They already got 3 running backs in Barkley, Shipley, and A.J. Dillon. Just doesn't make sense to me. The Jaguars get a 2026 5th and 6th round pick. I don't know how this helps Philly because, like I said, they already have their backs. It can hurt the Jaguars because now who will be their backup? It's Allen Jr., according to the NFL depth chart, or from ESPN.com. It can also help them with Travis Etienne getting all the snaps. Another team making moves, or expecting to make moves, after week 1, are the Pittsburgh Steelers. And according to NFL.com, they're expected to sign Jabril Peppers. Steelers, to me, like as I mentioned, are one of their top defenses. Yet they allowed 32 points, and they're expecting to sign Peppers, which I believe is smart after Deshaun Elliott got an injury in the first game of the season. Okay, this game was the most surprising out of all the games to me of the team that won. If you're a fan of the winner, I don't know if this is surprising to you, but might not be. But if you're a realistic fan, not sure. It's the Colts dominating against the Miami Dolphins. Now that surprised me. The final score was 33-8. Bad news for the Dolphins is they got blown out. But good news, they did score 8 points, so they didn't get shut out. Their defense is good, but not this game. Was it because no secondary, or what? The only household name they have in the secondary to me is Minkah Fitzpatrick. The Colts blew them out. And let's remember, their quarterback is Daniel Jones, who we all know is not the best to have that one good season. Daniel Jones, when I was looking at the stats, they weren't great, but what stuck out from his 3 touchdowns is he had 2 rushing touchdowns. And to me, he's not a rusher, he's a passer. And he had 1 passing touchdown. He threw for 272 yards, completing 22 of 29 passes. It's quite a bit of yards. Not horrible numbers, but not spectacular. He did what he needed to help his team out and get the win. I believe I said the Colts' defense is low-key good, and the Colts' question marks are their offensive line and their quarterback. Can Jones and their offensive line keep this up? Their defense did have 2 interceptions. Another team looking good, but this team they lost, but they were looking good, are the New York Jets. Their question mark to me was their defense for sure. Quarterback Justin Fields looked good, throwing from the pocket. He didn't throw that much like Rodgers, but did good on the ground. Fields had 2 rushing touchdowns, 1 passing, and completed 18 of 22 passes for 218 yards. Other than the Colts-Dolphins game, the Jets hanging in with the Steelers, making it tough, that was another surprise to me. Not the biggest one. I'd say the Colts-Dolphins was the biggest one. I did not expect them to do that good and have a chance to win. The Steelers should have won that game. Fields balled out. Also, the 49ers Seahawks. The Niners winning surprised me, especially winning the game on defense after scoring the game-winning touchdown. To me, they have no household names on defense since basically everyone left except for two people in Fred Warner and Nick Bosa. But they do have defensive coordinator Robert Saleh, who was good, especially as a defensive coordinator. Now, for games that I watched or able to watch on TV, and plays that I saw, I wrote them down, my top plays of the week that were just incredible. There's no order in this, it's just top 5. You can choose which out of these 5 you think were the best. One of them was the Steelers Jets game, where Rodgers threw to Metcalf, was almost picked off, but Metcalf, if you look at the replay, was tipping it to himself, hit Jonnu Smith, I believe, in the hands to try to catch it, couldn't catch it, fell down, back into Metcalf's hands, who caught it. Also, that same game, the Steelers made a play on defense, which was the game-winning play, I'd say, and Jalen Ramsey making a big hit. That was probably the best defensive play I saw this week 1, and it wasn't anything like an interception, fumble. It was just a nice, clean hit, just bang bang, really good and everything. And the Cowboys-Eagles game, another top play, is Jalen Hurts threw to Jahan Dotson down the field, and which is a nice downfield throw, which was right in the breadbasket. Just the throw and the catch it was just a beauty. And then these next 2 catches were just crazy and clean. I'll skip the 4th one and I'll go with my last one as the Monday night game. Is when tight end Cole Kmet, the Bears, made a one-handed catch down the field from Caleb Williams. It's pretty nice. There was also another one-handed catch, this time longtime veteran receiver on the Ravens, DeAndre Hopkins, who made this nice one-handed grab, and I believe it was for a touchdown. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. If I'm right, it was nasty and nice as it was just smooth. Crazy to me. These are my stats I came up with. In week 1, out of all 16 games, there were only 4 games that ended in a score of more than 2 possessions. All other games were a 1-possession game. Now let's go back to San Francisco with the Niners. Receiver Kendrick Bourne is decided, to come back, according to NFL.com, and this helps them because we already know they're thin at receiver. But then Kittle just recently got hurt with a hamstring injury. And then Bourne's deal is a 1 year up to $5 million. Okay, and then there was a few records in week 1 as well. One with the Raiders, the Ravens, and even the Rams. Franchise, team, and even individual records. We'll start with Raiders quarterback Geno Smith. Ooh, and we got this from NFL.com. For the Raiders, he breaks the Raiders record despite still barely winning the game. He had 362 passing yards and the Raiders franchise record in the 80s, of breaking that record. And he also tied a team record of 9 passes of 20-plus yards since 1991. He's in company with Joe Burrow, as this is Smith's 6th game with more than 350 passing yards, and Burrow has more since 2024. And then Geno's numbers, he was 24 of 34, with 1 passing touchdown and an interception. His passer rating was 102.8. He was able to throw to Trey Tucker and others. And to me, their best receiver would be, I know Jacoby Myers is the number one receiver, but I would actually say Brock Bowers. And then Geno Smith might be making other receivers good. We'll see what happens. Speaking of records, and it was with another quarterback, this time in the NFC, Matthew Stafford. He passes his way into more than 60,000 passing yards, becoming only the 10th player to do so. And this says NFL.com. This game was also close, and the Rams won and made a defensive play to secure the win. Stafford was 21 of 29 for 45 yards and 1 touchdown. Going back to the AFC, and this time it's not a quarterback, it's actually a running back, so still offensive player. Derrick Henry had himself a record-breaking night according to NFL.com, scoring his 107th and 108th rushing touchdown, passing running back Jim Brown. However, Henry did fumble the ball, which led to the Bills having a chance to win the game with a field goal after missing a 2-point conversion, being down 2. They would end up making that field goal and winning by 1. And Henry rushed for 169 yards. In college football, there weren't a lot of upsets, but some, and I'll let you know how I feel about the rankings that came out as well. My question is, how is Notre Dame ranked 8? And not only ranked, but ranked high, with an 0-1 record. Starting with one of the upsets, we have Mississippi State, who beat number 12 ranked Arizona State. And that was not the only upset. Do have South Florida, who beat 13th ranked Florida in Florida, which is not an easy place to play. And the week before, they beat a ranked Boise State team. And I was wondering if they were going to rank them or not. When I checked the rankings, they did rank them, well deserved. And like if they had to move a few teams out, which they did, I was wondering which ones. They took a few teams out, like SMU and Arizona State, who got upset by Baylor in a comeback win. And Florida, Arizona State got moved out, SMU. But the team they moved out for sure was Arizona State, which put USF at 18. My friend and I agree they should be ranked a little higher, especially according to him, since they beat Florida in Florida. And it's not easy to win there, as I said. They did rank 2 other unranked teams at 24 and 25 in Auburn and Missouri, as the other 2 unranked teams to join the rankings. Another upset, not with rankings, was Kansas State losing to Army. And was that an upset, though? Because Kansas State is not doing so good, and I know I mentioned this in one of my other shows. They did barely hold on to beat the University of North Dakota, who should have beat them. They lost to Army. And I don't know their first game, who they played, if they won or lost. For some reason, I thought it was Boise State that beat them. That's why Boise State was ranked, because they beat a ranked team. I think Kansas State was ranked, not sure. Thanks for listening to the Corbin Report. And if you're still wondering where your team is ranked, if they're not in the top 10, go to the Corbin Report Facebook page and Twitter, and I will post them there. Also, if you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel or Spotify, subscribe and help me get to 25 subscribers on YouTube and Spotify, and help me get to at least 1,000 views. I'm at 840, so realistic goals, nothing crazy. Thanks for listening. If you're not following me on any of the social media like YouTube, Spotify, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, follow me there. Thanks for listening. Talk to you guys next time, and let's see where your team ends up next week.